Well, why don't we get broad? Talking through the platform with On Focus with my good friend Steve Akanek. Did you see that? I got it. And Steve, I asked you for us to do this recording together. I've been getting a lot of messages through Facebook, through email, text messages, particularly today. Everybody's asking about, one, if I can't make it to the game, how can I watch this game? And then a few people asked, like, hey, this will be my first time to Camp Randall. I don't know what to expect. So, being that you are Steve, the media guy and sports guy, I figured that we would just ask you those questions. So, feel free to tackle one of those questions first.
And we'll start with watching the game. Yes. So when you get to the state level, we no longer are allowed to live stream. So we will not, On Focus will not have a live stream of the state championship game. The game is available on Bally Sports Wisconsin. Those of you that aren't familiar, they were known forever as Fox Sports Wisconsin. Name change this year. It's where you watch the Brewers, the Bucks. I think the Wild are on there. But you can
Valley
watch
or Bally? Valley or Bally?
Bally, Bally.
Okay, so not the Valley, but Bally, Bally. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, they just took over. Somebody bought the regional networks from Fox, and they changed the name to that for some reason.
Nothing like rebranding to confuse people.
Exactly. But they have for years now broadcast the state championship games. So it's available through there. It is also available through their app. You have to have you have to have a corresponding TV package.
Like DirecTV or Charter.
Charter. I don't think they're on Dish Network right now. There's still some arguments back and forth about access for that. I know that was a big deal during the Brewers season. So you may not have access to this channel, but that's where the game will be. And that is the sole place that will be doing video broadcasts of the game.
Okay. So now let's say that, so you're making it sound like I'm limited to, you could watch this on your device. You could watch this on a tablet, a smart TV, regular TV is what you're saying?
Yep. Regular TV. If you have one of the networks that have access, you just flip it to the right channel and all 7 games will be there. If not, if you have access to the Bally Sports app, you can download that to any of your devices and watch from there.
So now let's say let's say somebody is like me, where they're very old school, where they don't have a DirecTV, a Dish Network, or any kind of password, and they don't have a family member to give up that login and password. And I just want to do like a one-time payment or some kind of subscription. Is there like a relative price range, or is this pretty expensive?
To the only subscription service that currently includes Bally Sports Wisconsin is the DirecTV stream, and that is between $70 and $90 a month. That's the only number that I've been able to find on that.
So either I need to find, I got to find a friend,
yep,
or I got to go to a bar.
Yep, and all the bars will have it. Because obviously, any bar you've ever seen a Brewer game on, they will have it. So,
okay, so that's one thing. If somebody wants to call up and say, like, "Hey, you're a local establishment. I've seen you play sports before. Will you have the Bally network?" Or you could say, "What's the channel you play the Brewers on?" And then just say, "I want to watch the football games."
Absolutely.
So that leads me into our the third option somebody could do. You could just go to the game in person, correct?
Absolutely.
So there's going to be some Colby fandom, and not just Colby fandom, because this is Division 1 through 7. It's going to be a lot of football being played down there. There's going to be a lot of families. This will be the first time that they ever gone to Camp Randall, and traveled that far south. So Steve, why don't you you've been there many times before. I've been there a few times. Why don't you kind of describe what people can expect?
All right. Yeah, so if you're heading down to Camp Randall, parking is the biggest problem. For sure, parking is just a mess. I'm actually
you make it sound like so much fun.
Yep. Let me pull it up here real quick. If you are going down to the game, strongly recommend, if you can, by noon tomorrow, get on the list for the buses from that the Colby school system is offering. You can find all that information on the website. But if you are going to drive down, there are a couple options for parking. That's going to be your first big thing. The big one is going to be you can park down at the Alliant Energy Center, and they will have buses that will transport you up to Camp Randall.
Oh, okay.
The problem with that is they will not have buses coming back from Camp Randall at the end of the game. So you either have to hang out in the neighborhood till they bring them back. It's for school, because obviously there's still school going on in Madison that day.
I suppose.
And then so you either have to hang out or you have to find your way back down to the Alliant Energy Center after the game.
All right. So you were showing us on the map that if you didn't want to take a fan bus and you wanted to have a shuttle, you could go to the Alliant Energy Center, but you're not going to have necessarily a quick, prompt return back. And you might have to walk that 1 mile trek. Otherwise, could somebody say like, well, could it be similar to like a Packer game where you just kind of roam around the neighborhood? Somebody could have like, hey, parking here for $5-10, park in my driveway, that kind of thing.
That is an option. To the west of Camp Randall Stadium in this neighborhood, there is some of that kind of parking. I don't know if they'll be doing it for the state championship games, but there's even some on-street parking over here. But it's like 2-hour parking. So if the game runs a little long, you might risk a parking ticket, though I haven't seen too much enforcement in there in the past. A couple other parking options, and actually we'll come back to that one because I don't want to give my secret away just yet.
Well, you don't have to give it away at all.
Oh, no, I'll give it away for the Colby fans. I'll be down there early enough, so I'll get my spot in there first. The nearest, the nearest big city parking garage is at the corner of University and Lake Street. So this is about halfway between the Capitol and Camp Randall Stadium. It's a huge complex. It's like a full city block parking complex. So that is the closest like big city parking. Obviously, it's paid parking. There is some parking around the Kohl Center, but that usually fills up pretty quickly. That's a little closer.
Sure. So that looks like, what is it? That's 6, 5, 4 blocks. What is that? Probably 6, 7,
10 blocks. So 10. Both of them are about 10 blocks from Camp Randall Stadium.
Okay. Well, that ain't terrible.
No. So now I will show you the secret one.
Wow. You're going to reveal this for real?
I'm going to reveal my secret that I stumbled into myself a couple years ago.
Oh, nice.
Just literally within view of the scoreboard on the north end zone, there is this engineering drive ramp, lot 17. I'm kind of going around it here with the mouse. It's at the end of a dead end street. You can only access it if you're coming up Randall Avenue, which is this street right here. And it usually has room. It's a little more expensive because it's run by the university and not the city. Mm-hmm. But you literally are parking within view of Camp Randall Stadium.
That's insane. How'd you find that?
Google Maps. I was running late for the D7 game 2 years ago, and I just went with the closest parking when I got down there, and it directed me here.
Wow. Thank you, Google Maps.
Yep.
So now you were talking about before that you were encouraging everybody about a fan bus. And yes, absolutely. So Colby High School is doing student buses, and we're also doing fan buses, adult buses, whatever you want to call them. And I guess there's more and more buses being added to it. And you can go to the school district's Facebook page. I know I've shared those. Yes, Facebook page and on their website. You got it up already. They'll be leaving early in the morning. I think that they'll be coming back by 7 o'clock at night. They will not stop for lunch on the way there, but they'll give you ample time. Like after the game, you can go get stuff and then they're coming back, which I do believe that in the evening, then Colby and those athletes and the players and coaches get a welcome return in the gymnasium, I believe.
Yep. So you do have to sign up for that one by 8:30 tomorrow morning.
No pressure.
No pressure. And to clarify on the shuttle for parking at the Alliant Energy Center will run till 1:30, so right after the game starts.
Oh,
And then we'll come back online at 5:00. So you'll have to hang out outside Camp Randall for about an hour, hour and a half after the game before the shuttle will start up again to take you back to the Alliant Energy Center.
okay, I got you.
Because they do have to get those kids home from school.
That everybody for what, they don't shut down the whole state for football? Crazy.
Nope.
That's crazy. So I guess then some of the things that you can come in with and you can't go in with. I noticed that like you can't go in with tripods, you can't go with like big video camera equipment unless you do have that media pass, then you do have that opportunity. But as well, like what about for like bags? Let's say if I wanted to bring a backpack with like blankets or a stadium seat, that kind of thing. What are some of the things that you can carry in?
In terms of carry-in, stadium seats are allowed. I'm actually going to pull that up to make sure I'm 100% sure on that one.
You didn't get. Oh, I gotcha. Maybe this is something I could have prepared for. I always feel like I'm very unprepared. I always tell you like we should do this interview, and then I never have any material.
Yep. All the concessions are cashless, so it's all credit card, Google Pay, Apple Pay, stuff like that.
Interesting.
You'll only be allowed clear bags, clear totes. Like if you want to bring in a bunch of stuff, it has to be in a clear bag.
So like a big Ziploc bag or something.
Yep, and you won't be allowed full-size purses, backpacks, camera bags, or any of that stuff. Are allowed to be brought in. They do allow for the football. I do believe they allow the stadium chairs, but I can't seem to find the specifics on that. Actually, I know where I need to go.
I was gonna say, I think they do allow those stadium chairs. So like where it's like the pad and then the little flippy back thingy. So while Steve, you looked that up, it is going to be at Madison. It's going to be a low of 21 degrees, but it's going to be a high of 33. So I would say that kickoff temps for Division 7, Division 6, we're probably going to be looking at like anywhere between 28 to 32 degree weather. And it looks like it's going to be high winds, 17-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah, it's going to be it is going to, oh, sorry, just a second here.
So she's going to be a cold one. That's
a cold one. Yeah, I would, and honestly, Camp Randall is very cold. Like even on top of just normal being cold, Camp Randall always seems to be even colder than before.
How's that possible? Because
you're in a big, massive cement and metal bowl. So I do have this up. There's one other big one I want to point out.
Sure.
For people that are thinking of attending the game. So I'm going to share it here. You are allowed chair backs as long as they're not 16 inches wide. Mm-hmm. You are allowed small bags that are clear. You are allowed selfie sticks, binoculars. The big one is you are not allowed face paint. Cannot have your full face painted.
Really? Partial?
You can have paintings on your face, but you can't have the full face painted.
I wonder why that is.
Camp Randall put facial recognition stuff in to track people that were leaving the stadium that maybe did something they weren't supposed to do, so that they could keep track of them and catch them before they left.
So if I wanted face paint where I wanted to look like Steve, I can't do that. Or if I wanted a big like green and gold. All right. So no face paint, no body paint. So nobody lifting your shirts up and saying like, give me a C. Nothing like
none
that.
Of that. Nope.
Okay.
Yep. And then, so that's a big one right there. Otherwise, yeah, stadium chairs, binoculars, all that kind of stuff is allowed. Small bags. Obviously, you don't need to carry cash because there is no cash concessions within the building anymore. So, I mean, really all you need is a credit card and your phone with your ticket on it.
That's insane. Oh, I was going to say that's the next thing is that should people print off their ticket, or should they just feel assured that like just have it up and ready on your cell phone because they can scan it right from your cell phone?
So what I would say is have the ticket loaded up early. So for example, I heard a lot of it from fans at state cross country because the cell service wasn't the greatest down at the Ridges, that they were having issues loading their tickets down at the golf course down at the Ridges, and it was delaying people getting into cross country. Yes. So what I would say is before you get off the bus, load your ticket up, have it ready to go so that it's fully loaded. So all they have to do is scan it when you walk in and then you're good to go.
Perfect. Okay. Well, so we take care of all those. It's also important, like going back to the weather thing, it's important to bundle up because with the high winds and like you said before, I've been in that bowl before for playing at Badger games, but I've also been there for the state championship title in '98. And I thought I was going to die because all I had was a winter coat. So it's important dress in layers and don't have exposed skin with that wind and low temps.
Oh, yeah. Yep. It is cold and that wind swirls in there so bad that it can get really cold really fast.
So now kind of talking about that. Now you got my gears rolling. You're going to be down there for a lot of the football games. Are you going to be there for all the football games or just certain division games?
We are going to be there for all 4 games on Thursday. So that's division 7, 6, 5, and 4.
So let's just look at that real quick. Which game or games are you really excited for?
Well, we'll leave the D6 game off because I think everybody in Central Wisconsin is super excited about that one. I would say the D7 game. Just
the D7 game.
The D7 game, that is Coleman versus Reedsville.
Coleman taking down the mighty Regis Ramblers, who have been there to state several times, but Coleman's many times, but Coleman has never, and they took down the mighty Ramblers.
Yep, they came from behind to beat Regis at DC Everest on last Friday, so they're making their first trip to state. The Reedsville Panthers are making their first trip to state.
Wow, that's unbelievable.
Their first state title on Friday or on Thursday at 11 a.m.
So you got to feel really good about both these schools, but man, is one school going to get kind of crushed, don't you think?
Maybe not. It'll be interesting. Reedsville's been good for a while. They've made some deep playoff runs before they've run into, I think Edgar knocked them out like 3 years in a row.
Oh, that's gotta be, I know what that feeling's like.
So they're getting to state this year, and then they've been ready. Coleman's had some good teams. Abbotsford played them a few years ago, had to go up there, which is not an easy task because that is really far north. You're basically in the UP.
I was going to say, I know that it's really far north, and somebody joked to me that they should just take a Michigan zip code already.
Yeah, they are. I think they're about 30 miles from Marinette, way up in that upper corner of the state. So
insane.
Yep. I'm excited for that one. And I'm excited for D4. Catholic Memorial has been one of the best teams in the state for a number of years now, and they're back down again. So that'll be a fun one. That's the nightcap on Thursday.
Ooh, so they'll have the lights on, huh?
They'll have the lights.
Oh, good for those guys. What a great feeling. Because there's nothing more special than Camp Randall Stadium. Like there's just there's an electricity there that I would say is on par with a Lambeau game. To me anyway.
Yep. Having been lucky enough to get 3 of them in high school, there is something special as a student too to watch your high school team play at Camp Randall.
What high school were you?
I went to Marshfield.
Oh, and you went to the state title game your 3 years at school?
3 of the 4 I was at Marshfield High School. Marshfield went to state. 1, 2.
Oh, wow. That's got to be, man, you were spoiled rotten. You're like, oh, it's always like this.
But no, so it is a lot of fun down there. Enjoy it. Obviously it's been a while for the Colby Hornets, but have some fun.
10 years.
It is 10 years. It is probably, I would say, high school football there. You don't think of how many people just come down to watch those. till you're down there on a Thursday. And I mean, even like for a D6 game, most people focus on the D1. That stadium's going to be half full, third full, because you have a lot of people that are just going to come down there to watch the game. They're not going to pick sides, but that place is going to be a lot of people in there, and it is loud.
So Colby players or fandom should feel like, well, compared to Hortonville, this will probably be triple the amount of people, quadruple,
easily
wow.
triple.
Okay. Big crowds, loud noise.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting.
So the other big thing that does have to come up, and you hate having to talk about it, Dane County does require masks anytime you're outside the seating bowl. So you'll be required to have a mask to walk in, and anytime you're on the concourses, bathrooms, anywhere outside the main seating bowl, they will be requiring you to have a mask.
Okay, so just reiterate. So going into the stadium, your mask is on. While you're finding your seat, your mask is on.
Yep.
Once you plop your butt, you can pull it off.
You can pull it off. It's one of those, they still recommend it inside the bowl, but it's not required. But it is required anywhere. Once you go through the walkway out onto the concourses, you're required to be masked.
I see. So if you're a Hornet fandom, just say like, hey, just let's get our masks on, scan your ticket, find your seat. Once you get comfortable, kaboom. If you want it off, you can take it off. If you want to leave it on, more than welcome to.
I mean, with the way the temperature is going to be, I would recommend
you want to have a face mask.
Like give you a little extra layer of protection from the cold, but no, they will be requiring that. The Dane County is requiring masks in the indoor areas.
Fantastic. Well, that's good. That's a good reminder to bring that up. Well, so what are some of the things like I am going to get a videographer pass by the school district so I can capture the moments of the players on the sideline, of the fandom. And I'm going to turn that into a collection of, archive still shots and a videography presentation. But, for you, what are you going to be doing down there, or what people can expect from On Focus?
We'll have some live updates, pregame, halftime, postgame. We'll have highlights from the game. We'll have some really cool photos from the game. So we'll be doing a bunch of that stuff. And we'll actually have coverage of all 4 games that day. So as of right now, the plan is Neil and I are leaving super early Thursday morning to get down there in time for D7. And we'll be staying all the way through the end of the D4 game.
So you're going to be doing your broadcasting from where are you going to be doing your broadcasting from?
We'll be right on the sideline.
Okay.
So we'll be recording video that we can upload that after the game is over.
So can I photobomb you guys? Like at one point?
You can photobomb. We are going to be doing some live updates, both like on our social media with just some text updates like, hey, Colby scored, stuff like that, which hopefully we'll be saying a lot. And
touchdown, Colby.
Yep. And also we'll be doing some video updates pregame, kind of, what we're seeing in the stadium, halftime, give you an update of what we saw during the half, and then post game. Once we're done with all the interviews, we'll do a quick little video from the sideline, just updating everything that's happened. So
this would actually make a lot of sense. So like if I'm at the game, I should be having On Focus on Facebook or on your YouTube channel. What should I have locked and loaded? On Facebook.
Our On Focus or Sports On Focus or the Abby Colby On Focus Facebook pages. Any of the 3.
Because then I can like tune in at halftime. You can have the highlights. So if there was an exciting play and like, I wish I could see that again.
We won't have highlights. We'll have stats and some thoughts, but we can't put any video of the game out until after the game is over.
Okay. So after the game.
After the game, we'll have a full highlight package of the entire game. Some of the big plays and things like that. But we can't release any video of what's going on during the game until I believe it's half an hour after the game is ended.
I was going to say, I think that's what it is too. Like when there's... Yeah. Okay. So but either way, like if somebody had you guys locked and loaded on their Facebook page while they're watching on their TV or they're down at the game, you guys are really going to be giving like the full experience of that game for somebody. Like here's some stats, real time kind of deal.
Absolutely.
Oh man. Well, bless you people. I'm so glad that I'm glad that you guys are in the Hornet Nation lifestyle for us to give us like access to something like that, and everybody else that's going to be going down there for these football games.
It has been a lot of fun following the Colby Hornets this year. hard to believe, but we're looking at basketball already.
I know.
Because it's started tonight for some teams.
I was gonna say, it was supposed to start up for us this week, and I have to get ready for it. I think because Colby has like a game on Friday, I got to get music playlist ready.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's insane. We're coming up to such an exciting end, and then we're coming up to an exciting beginning for the next thing.
For sure. But yeah, no, we got, the big game Thursday, 1:00, but we're excited for it. I think it's going to be one heck of a game. I've seen some experts picking Colby to win in a tight one. So
this will actually be a rematch for, was it 2011 or 08? I think it was 08. Colby played St. Mary Springs.
Oh, that's a little outside of my knowledge.
Oh man, I shouldn't have said anything because now I don't remember.
I'm sure they would have met at some point. St. Mary Springs has been a mainstay of the playoffs for a long time since coming over from WISA in 2002, 2001, 2002. So, but yeah, they've made some. You're looking at, and I think that's the one thing that Colby has working against them is that St. Mary Springs has been there before. These kids know what Camp Randall looks like. They know what it's like to play there. I would expect kind of similar to what we saw against Durand, that we might see Colby come out a little in awe at the beginning and then settle down and get into the normal once the game starts. But there's a bit of an awe factor being in Camp Randall like that I think is going to catch up to them that St. Mary Springs just won't have.
I gotcha. So in 2008, November 15th, Colby defeated St. Mary Springs 25-20.
That would have been a state championship game, right?
That was, yeah. So that's when we got our second state championship. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, because somebody texted me that today. They're like, "Oh, it's gonna be a rematch." Well, cool. So now, Steve, with all of your equipment, are you going to be allowed to bring in backpacks yourself with all your media stuff?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, media gets to pretty much do whatever they want.
Ooh.
As long as we don't step on the field and as long as we don't send anything out we're not allowed to, they pretty much give us free reign down there.
Yeah, Coach Hagan was my 7th grade math teacher, my principal or vice principal in high school. And he told me, he's like, "Hey, congratulations on being videographer. Make sure you don't get in my way."
The other thing we'll have, and I should bring this up quick before I forget, we will be live streaming the send-off tomorrow afternoon at the high school. So if you can't make it down to the high school for the big send-off for the football team at 2:50, we will have a live stream of that. I'm not sure exactly where. Keep an eye on our socials for that.
Okay, so the send-off is going to be at 2:50 at the high school?
At the high school. And if you can't make it, we'll have it live. So,
good for you guys.
Oh yeah, those are almost better than the game itself.
So, like in this live, you're just gonna like film it and say like, "There they go."
No, because we'll have a little pep rally and stuff. We'll get that. We'll get video of the fire trucks leaving town. Because I'm sure they're gonna get a police and fire escort out of town. They better.
But, absolutely.
So yeah, we'll have all that stuff. We'll get details on a return. We'll have all that. We'll have links to all that stuff and as much information as we can starting tomorrow on our Facebook page. So as we find out information on when there'll be a welcome home, if we know when they're going to be coming back through, we'll have all that stuff as well.
So best bet, stay tuned, check into On Focus, Sports On Focus, Abbotsford Colby On Focus.
Yep.
And you can't miss.
Can't miss.
Well, fantastic. Well, Steve, I think that kind of that takes care of all my questions and kind of calms me down to get ready for tomorrow and the next day. Do you have anything else you'd like to plug?
I think we're good.
All right. Well, fantastic. Well, his name is Steve. My name is Matt. This is for On Focus, and I'm also part of the platform for the Hornets Nest. And stay tuned, and we'll We'll see you there at state. Fantastic.